We quickly realized this place is not only about the lively spots where locals gather. It's not just about the floating restaurants where people sit right out over the water, or taking boat rides on the springs. We watch some of the cleanest water you'll ever see flowing effortlessly past us, feeding directly into one of Europe's oldest and deepest lakes. Beyond these beautifully well-kept gardens, the whole vibe completely changes as we begin our climb. Stepping into the upper complex, everything gets incredibly quiet. You can really feel how old these buildings actually are. Walking through these gates, it just has a very calm energy, like a place completely untouched by time. It's about 11:45 now, and we can see this restaurant staff getting ready for the lunchtime rush. This is Kathy today in red, always one step ahead of me. While some restaurants like this one are facing Lake Ohrid, you have all these different places to sit along the paths. The others are facing the Naum Springs. Having traveled through the Balkans before, one thing we always notice is how meat-heavy the food tends to be around here. The local chefs, they really love to grill everything over an open fire, and we will see that in a minute. We arrived at the peninsula just as the late September sun was starting to get warm. It really was a beautiful day to explore, and the walk up toward the monastery takes us along this incredibly quiet path. Everything down here feels completely relaxed, just matching the slow pace of the water. Off to the left, where those small boats are tied up, are the Naum Springs. You can see a lot of locals out here just enjoying the sunshine. And then just ahead of us, right around that corner, the view opens into Lake Ohrid. Looking out over Lake Ohrid, you really get a sense of just how massive this body of water is. It feels completely wide open, almost like looking at the ocean. What's amazing is that this ecosystem is actually around 1.5 million years old, making it one of the oldest lakes in the world. It's a massive body of water, split right between Albania and North Macedonia. It's also home to the Ohrid trout, an endemic species that you can only find right here. And down along this edge, you can watch that ultra-clean spring water emptying directly into the main lake. Moving away from the water, our path brings us right up to the chapel of St. Petka. The chapel that we see here is about 100 years old, but the original one was actually built all the way back in 1404. This spot was built right next to a holy water spring, and people have been coming here for centuries to collect it. It's dedicated to St. Petka, who is widely known around here as a healer. It's a very modest, simple little building, hidden away under the shade of the trees, making it a really peaceful stop as we keep exploring the rest of these lower grounds. We stepped into these beautifully manicured gardens, which are still meticulously looked after by the monks living here. From here, the path leads down toward those restaurants under the willow trees, where we can actually catch a glimpse of the Ohrid trout before we head up to the Monastery of Saint Naum, which has been a sacred site here for over 1,000 years. We followed the path across a small wooden bridge, leading right into the dining area by the water. Seeing those large hand-carved wooden fish at the entrance, you get an idea of what this place is known for. The restaurants here built these wooden platforms that sit directly over the clear water. It's a simple setup, where you can just sit under the willow trees and listen to the stream. The water flowing underneath the decks is very shallow, showing off these deep, mossy green shades. It's a quiet spot to pause for a minute before we start making our way up the hill toward the monastery. By the way, if you ever want to skip around or check where we are, I've broken this entire walk down into chapters for you. Right by the tables, the restaurants keep some of the Ohrid trout in these netted pools to serve fresh. They are completely unique to this lake, meaning they exist nowhere else. Even the local ducks seem completely used to sharing the water with them. The water in these springs actually originates from Lake Prespa, which sits at a much higher elevation on the other side of the mountain. It filters naturally down through the porous limestone rock, taking 10 long years, yes, 10 long years, to travel all the way here, before finally emerging into Ohrid completely clear. If you're enjoying this walk, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps a small channel like this grow. Leaving a comment or sharing it with a friend also goes a long way, and I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you. Seeing the smoke from the chimneys and smelling the grilled meat, we decided to stop for a quick lunch before heading up. Chefs in the Balkans really love to grill over an open fire. If you order a burger here, you get one of these huge patties, which is usually served with a mountain of fries instead of inside a bun. It wasn't much of a climb to get up here. We spent most of the morning down by the springs, but as we reached the top, you can hear a violin playing somewhere, and the wind rustling through the trees. We reached the upper level of the complex, where the stone terrace opens up to a sweeping view of Lake Ohrid. Looking out at the water and the massive Galičica mountains in the background, it really makes you think about how this place was founded over 1,000 years ago. It wasn't built by a king or an empire, but by a holy man named Saint Naum himself. You can just sit on the stone walls here and realize people have looked at this exact same view for centuries. As you walk closer to the central stone buildings, you notice the incredible layered brickwork of the church tower. Today, it feels like such a peaceful courtyard, but these grounds were once a massive, bustling hub for education and culture across Eastern Europe. Back in the late 9th and early 10th centuries, right between the years 886 and 910, Saint Naum and Saint Clement started a major center for writing books here. They taught thousands of students how to read and write using the new Slavic alphabet, making this the main spot for literacy in the region. Passing through the stone archways, you get a sense of just how much history these walls have survived. Interestingly, this place didn't always function as a monastery. During the last two world wars, the buildings were actually repurposed and used as a hospital and a psychiatric clinic. Even the borders under our feet have shifted over time. For its first 1,000 years, this entire complex was part of Albania. Then, around 1925, after a series of border disputes and diplomatic agreements, the boundary line was moved, which is why the monastery sits in North Macedonia today. We are heading inside the main courtyard now, passing by the entrance where people stop to light prayer candles. There is a very quiet, reverent energy as you get closer to the heart of the complex. We are going to step out of the sun now and head straight into the small chapel to visit the tomb of Saint Naum. It's very quiet inside the chapel, so you naturally find yourself whispering. Stepping inside the burial chapel, we were surrounded by wall frescoes. They were painted in the early 1800s by a master named Trout, whose style blends traditional Byzantine lines with Western elements from Venice. The gold-gilded bishop's throne stands out against the stone. Looking up, the artwork stretches into the shadows of the ceiling. Then, your eyes are drawn to the main iconostasis. It is a massive wall of deeply carved wood, covered in gold leaf, holding rows of sacred icons. The dark, aged lacquer on the paintings catches the light, making it easy to just stand here. The detail on the central royal doors is remarkable. It gives the entire space a very rich, timeless feel as we take in these final moments. We have now come to the end of this video, and thank you for staying with us right to the end. We would love for you to join us again on our next journey. We will see you in the next video.